It is possible that this morning's activity for Tesla is the Jim Cramer effect, since there's really no reason for the stock to be down 11 this morning as we open up the show. The Jim Cramer effect is, when Jim says good things about a stock or about the stock market in general, then the stock is supposed to go down, according to this theory. And Jim Cramer said some nice things this morning. So we'll get into that in just a second. Overall, the market is acting weird this morning. The PPI came in fantastic, way better than expected, after the CPI came in way better than expected yesterday. And the jobs numbers were good today, too. And the market's down, and the what do you call it? The bonds, the bond yields are up. Everything's cattywampus this morning. It's really hard to understand. Obviously, the tariffs, I think, are still the big deal. We may be just kind of stuck well, I said it. I said it yesterday. I said it with Jeff Lutz last night. We could be looking at a situation where we are going to be going back and forth between the stock market and Tesla, trading in a range for the foreseeable future until the tariff situation and the Ukraine war are off the table as concerns. The VIX, for instance, it's a little better. It's about 24 and a half right now, which is down from 29, but 24 and a half is still very elevated compared to the 12s and 13s that it was last year. All right, so let's look at the specific news. First of all, we've got this at Tesla's 43,411 Teslas were registered in the United States in January. That makes Tesla the number one best-selling EV brand in the country once again. Now, registrations were down 11% compared to last January, which was not a good month for sure. But of course, there's no Model Ys basically being sold in January, and so the numbers will improve starting in March. All right, Sawyer Merritt's got this. This is the Jim Cramer story. Jim Cramer suggests that Tesla could hit 500 in 2025. We're going off charts with Larry Williams, a legendary technician. He's been the best in the business since before I could drive, says Jim Cramer. Tonight, he's calling the bottom in Tesla. It may be ready to rally and furiously. His 500 call is way too conservative, in my opinion, but otherwise, this is good news. Well, maybe not good news because, as I said, there's the Jim Cramer effect, and maybe we're seeing that today. CNBC says this: more than 8 out of every 10 respondents to a Morgan Stanley survey believe that Tesla CEO Elon Musk's controversial political activities are hurting his business. In total, 85% of the 245 participants polled by the firm believe Musk's foray into politics has either had a negative or extremely negative impact on business fundamentals. The majority of respondents also suspect Tesla deliveries to fall this year, according to the survey. These are general investors. So I did a poll. They go on in the article, say these are general investors, very small number, of course. Well, I did a poll. I got more than that. I got over 500 people responding to my poll, which is pretty good for me. I normally get more like 150 or 250, 300 maybe, but I already had 500 this morning. And in my poll, I know I've got Tesla investors, and because that's who follows me. But in addition to that, I specifically asked people, please only answer the poll if you're a Tesla investor. Anyway, two-thirds of my poll say that they think Elon's involvement in politics overall is a benefit to both the company and the stock price. Now, I doubt if many people would have said that 3 months ago or even a week ago, before all of the benefits that we're starting to see with attacking the biggest unexploited TAM that Tesla could possibly go after, which is the Republicans and the independents in the United States, which typically have not been buying the cars. But I've been talking about that for a very, very long time. So I think it's going to be huge. I think, as I continue to say, I think that sales will be much better than expected this year because of it. and also because of other things. You, I think, know the list by now. Business Insider says this: Tesla has lost so much value in a short period of time that JP Morgan analysts said they couldn't think of another comparable moment in automotive history. Well, no, you wouldn't see it in automotive history, guys. We struggle to think of anything analogous to the history in the automotive industry, which is where a brand has lost so much value so quickly, they wrote. Adding that the closest example was Japanese and Korean car brands that lost sales amid diplomatic disputes with China in 2012 and 2017. Okay. The JP Morgan analyst wrote in a note on Wednesday that these historical cases were confirmed to a single market, whereas the decline in Tesla sales in 2025 is not specific to any nation or geography. Although we're seeing absolutely nothing negative in China at all as a result of the political aspects that we. Anyway, JP Morgan analysts cut their price target on Tesla by about 41%. From 230 to 135, lowering guidance on vehicle deliveries for the first quarter to 355,000, an 8% year-over-year decrease from the first quarter of 2024. This will not age well. From December to Wednesday, after trading hours, Tesla, or the 355,000 might be right. From December to Wednesday, after trading hours, Tesla lost nearly 49% of its market cap since its peak. Yeah, we know about that. We know about the peak. We know about the 50% reduction. You heard Brian Wong last night talking about how he would have called this. This is kind of normal for Tesla, and the coil is getting tighter. The spring is getting more and more wound up tight. This steep drop has come as Tesla experiences a global decline in sales and branding issues stemming from its chief executive's politics. For a moment, Elon Musk's big bet on Donald Trump seemed to pay off. So this is what I don't understand. How can you say on one hand it paid off, and then on the other hand say now that it's back down to what it might have been but for the Trump bump, that somehow the politics are negative? Anyway, for the moment, Tesla's Elon Musk's big bet on Donald Trump seemed to pay off. Tesla was the only EV company to see its stock surge after the president's victory in November. The underlying assumption appeared to be that Musk's company could benefit if Tesla's CEO had the ear of the new administration and guided the White House efforts to slash government spending. Now, that assumption is being challenged in some analysts' latest guidance, which notes a possible headwind in demand because of Musk's work with the Trump administration. The headwind in demand is from not having anything to sell, and you'll see. You will see. I don't ever bet actual money, but I have a bet right now for you, and that is we will see shocking numbers for Model Y as the year unfolds. Mr. Musk's work in the Department of Government Efficiency has proven controversial domestically, though it shouldn't. Why would anybody be against cutting federal government's largesse? And while as many members of the political right might be pleased, as those on the left are displeased, the effect on Tesla sales seems nevertheless negative. There's nothing to other than the polling, which indicates that this is true, that the right wing is coming around. There's nothing in the numbers yet to know whether it's a good news or bad news. In recent weeks, Tesla showrooms across the U.S. have seen protests and a string of vandalism. Yeah, well, that's idiots and jerks. Trump has rushed to Tesla's defense and considered he has labeled them domestic terrorists. Outside brand reputation, some analysts are also concerned that Musk's focus on political affairs is distracting the CEO from his core businesses. Yeah, right, whatever. After all, the simultaneous decline in both Tesla pricing and unit volume expectations did coincide with his takeover on X, the social media. Morgan Stanley analysts wrote in a note on Monday that Tesla shares had fallen because of sales data, negative brand sentiment, and a market degrossing. But they still saw a buying opportunity for the company. Today, with the stock down 50%, our investor conversations are focused on management distraction, brand degradation, and lost auto sales, the analyst said. This from the CNEV Post, the China something, I don't know what that stands for. Tesla's Chinese team has led the development of a new model to cope with fierce competition in the market, local media outlet 36er said in a report today citing industry sources. Now, this would be, from my understanding, this is a Chinese team of Tesla employees who have come up with a suggestion of a cheaper model for China only, and this has not been is not being offered yet. It may never be offered. The new model is a lower price Model Y, excuse me, with no major changes to the battery, the power, and chassis compared to the current model. The people familiar with the matter said Tesla China is developing the new model through Depop, an internal Tesla development process that streamlines configurations to enable rapid product launches while leaving key features unchanged, according to the report. Instead of choosing an English name, the project code for the new model will use letters plus numbers, the report said. The timing of the new model's launch will depend on the performance of orders for the updated Model Y, the report said, adding that Tesla is expected to launch the cheaper Model Y later this year if sales of the updated Model Y don't perform as well as expected. So this is a maybe if. And I think we're going to find Model Y so crazy. Tesla launched a lower price version of the Model 3 in Mexico in August of 2024. The report noted that cheaper Model Y is led by its Chinese team, while the lower price Model 3 was developed by Tesla headquarters. Tesla has launched the revamped 5-seat Model Y in China on January 10 and began offering 2 variants dubbed the Launch Series. Okay, Reuters has this morning. Tesla is working with Chinese tech giant Baidu to improve the performance of its advanced driver assistance system in China. 2 people with knowledge of the matter said after a recent update drew customer criticism. What? Most of what's happening in China right now with regard to the FSD has been absolutely stunning, suggesting that Tesla is years ahead of the competition in China with regard to ADA. Baidu, of course, is a major, they have a major robotaxi business in China and has been for a long time discussing with Tesla the potential for partnering. They are already partnering with some testing, but partnering on a major way. Baidu dispatched a group of engineers from its mapping team to Tesla Beijing office in recent weeks to work on a better integrated Baidu navigation map information, such as lane markings and traffic light signals, with Tesla's full self-driving version 13 software. The sources did not say how many engineers were sent to Tesla or whether they're still there. They said the aim was to improve FSD version 13's knowledge of Chinese roads with more accurate and updated maps. The sources declined to be named. The deepening relationship with Baidu comes as Tesla navigates data and regulatory restrictions imposed by Beijing and Washington, which have made it tricky for the car maker to bring full autopilot to China. This is, after all, Randy Kirk. Yeah, you could always hit the like button. It's a very good time to do it. And then you can hit the subscribe button and the notify button. Later today will be a normal day where we'll have Cern Basher at about 7:45. And prior to that, we'll have Bradford Ferguson at around 5-ish, 5:15, usually about what time that comes out. So look forward to those coming today. And of course, I'd love to have you join Patreon. That would be phenomenal. So all evidence is now in on inflation, and the direction is about as good as could be hoped for. And in fact, the future looks like it's in. If you didn't watch my program last night with Brian Wang, he proves basically without a shadow of a doubt that we're going under 2% on inflation with multiple ways of analyzing it. And this is especially true if the war in the Ukraine stops. But it's even going to be true, I think, regardless. We've got oil prices way down, egg prices way down from where they were just a month ago, from $8 to like $5. Anyway, all the producer price index for final demand in February was unchanged. Zero increase, zero decrease compared to the 0.3 seasonally adjusted that the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S., they were expecting it to be 0.3. It was zero. Not they, but the people that they asked for the various analysts. Final demand prices rose 0.6% in January and 0.5% in December. So this is really a huge, steep drop. Now, that's the headline number. The index for final demand advanced 3.2% for the 12 months. That was lower compared to the 3.1 expected. 2/3 of the February increase in this index for final demand goods was attributable to prices for chicken eggs, which jumped 53.6%. They jumped from like $5 to like $8, but guess what? They're back to $5. Since the end of February, the price of eggs has come down dramatically from $8 to $5.18. Eggs have the potential to fall much further, with the normal price being between $1 and $2. And that alone, according to Brian Wang, would bring the CPI down by another 0.2 to 0.5%. All right. So that's one reason. That doesn't count oil, which is also another big reason. In February, a 0.3% increase in prices for final demand goods offset a 0.2% decline in the index for final demand services. Therefore, the index for final demand, less foods, energy, and trade services moved up only 0.2% in the month versus the 0.3% expected. And that was after going up 0.3% in January. For the 12 months ended in February, the core price, the core PPI for final demand, less foods, energy, and trade services advanced 3.3%, better than expected. Now we have this. In the week ended March 8th, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims for unemployment was 220,000, a decrease of 2,000 from the previous week's level. And that was revised up by 1,000 from 221 to 222. The 4-week moving average is 226. So as you can tell, this is flat, 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 flat. And if you're paying any attention for years with with watching this program, you know that this being around 220 is normal, normal, normal. The total number of continuing weeks claimed for all programs ending February was 2.2 million, an increase of 70,000 from the previous week. That is a little troubling. So you could be looking at just slightly depressed situation going on in the jobs market, which is kind of what we've been reporting. This is from the 𝐄𝐦𝐚𝐲 the Great. He says in 2024, Joe Biden's U.S. Government Accountability Office estimated that the U.S. loses 233 to 521 billion annually to fraud, waste, and abuse. That is $500 billion, up to $500 billion, a quarter to $500 billion. I know the numbers they've lost meaning. A quarter to $500 billion lost to fraud, waste, and abuse, according to the Joe Biden Government Accountability Office. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge want to eliminate this. Shouldn't all Americans support this end to waste? We'd like to hear how would you do it differently? Oh, you do it slowly? Oh, you do it methodically through Congress? Yeah, right. It's not going to work. No. Go in there with that chainsaw, just like Javier Milei did in Argentina, and you chop, 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 chop. No, chop. It's a mixed metaphor. You cut, 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 cut as fast as you can before they can catch up with you, and then you'll have a result, and that's working great. According to the JP Morgan's chief economist says there's a recession risk at 40%. It's just almost exactly what Randy said. I say it's still at 50% of a recession. I say it's 100% that we are going to have months and or 1 or 2 quarters under zero in terms of GDP. I think it's 100% because you can't cut $1 trillion out of the U.S. economy without having an impact. You can't cut a couple. One estimate this morning is that the U.S. has already said 250,000 jobs have been cut. You can't cut 250,000 jobs without impacting the U.S. economy. So I think you're going to see negative numbers. Now, we don't put out GDP numbers on a monthly basis, but I'm saying you'll probably end up with at least 1 quarter where those are negative. Trump's poll numbers, by the way, according to Rasmussen Reports daily tracking poll, show that 52% of likely U.S. voters approve of the job that President Trump is doing. That is about where it's been for the last few weeks, but it's actually up. It was down, sitting around 50% for about a week, and now it's back up over 52%. I mean, at 52%. That seems like good news. All right, let's see what the markets are doing now. Tesla has rebounded somewhat. It was down like 9 or 10. No, it was down 11. Now it's down 770. So it is picking back up. I have a feeling this is, you know, how once in a while I just have these feelings. So if you're a day trader, don't take this as advice. Do not. This is not investment advice. I have a feeling that Tesla's going to end up in the green today. I don't know why. It just seems to me that the market is completely backwards today, and I don't fully understand why. So the Dow is down. Let's just do percentages. The Dow is down 0.07% right now. NASDAQ is down 0.55. S&P is down 0.19. And Tesla is down 3.11. Now, it had a big run up yesterday, so it's not crazy that, you know, there would be more profit taking. What's crazy is that the long-term fundamentals that were achieved over the last few days by the opportunity that we have with the Republican and the independent voters is massive. Take it from this marketing guy, massive. And I think we're going to be seeing this. We're seeing it in terms of the Google searches. We're seeing it in terms of information that we're getting in terms of the number of people in the showrooms and the number of orders that are coming across the dais. I think it's going to be absolutely nuts. And it's going to be continuing because the word of mouth will be huge as the Republican voters change their mind. We have got the Magnificent Seven all down this morning, except for NVIDIA, which is up 0.92%, but the rest are down, like Meta down 2.5%, Apple down 1%. We've got the Cathie Woods all down except for PayPal and Square, which are up. PayPal is basically zero flat, and Square continues up, up, up. Square seems to be doing very well recently. I'm not sure 100% why. I haven't checked into it. Okay, let's go ahead and look at, let's go ahead. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a minute. Let's go to something right there. Okay, so bonds, crazy. Just makes no sense. It's like, okay, here's the few things. I'm just gonna little bit of, you know, maybe some foreign countries are selling their bonds, like Canada might be selling some bonds because, you know, as a weapon. We might have Europe, China selling some bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds as a weapon. This is possible. This could be part of what's going on. We also have massive, I think it's $9 trillion. No, that can't be right. A lot of bonds that have to be sold by Secretary Bessent over the next 90 days or so. And it could be that there's just a lot of bonds that are coming into the marketplace, and fear that these will not be sold through could be impacting the market right now. So up 1.9 basis points this morning at 4.335, not where I'd like to see it going. We've got the U.S., the 2-year is up 0.2 of a basis point. The 2-month is actually down. So it's the 10-year is what's being impacted right now, which is the one we care about. Let's go ahead and look at oil. Oil prices this morning are down, kind of reversing yesterday's trend, back down to $67.18, down 50 cents. Brent about the same, but still over $70, $70.50. Natural gas is down another 2.11%. We are now under $4 at $3.99,999. So just barely under $4. Gold is trading up 16. All right, here we go. Another run, another try, sitting at 29.63, up 16.80. Maybe we're going to hit that 3,000 in short order. Silver just under 34. Similar, up 20.27% this morning, $33.84. So we could be getting to that 34. Copper is at $4.87. Again, similar, looking just barely under 5, up 0.53 this morning. What does all that mean? It usually means that the dollar is down, but I don't think the dollar is. It says here the headline is dollar edges higher. So the dollar's higher, and the commodities and the what do you call it? Precious metals are higher. So there you go. That's not usual. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is lower, down 734, sitting at 82,000. So way at the bottom. of its big range now of 79 all the way to 109. Yeah. Pre-market, I'm sorry, we already, there's no pre-market right now. All right, so that is the markets. As mentioned earlier, we have got we've got Cern Basher at 745. We have got Nicholas, no, it's not. It is Bradford Ferguson at about 5:15 is usually when it comes out. We have got last night, Brian Wong, very important. Actually, I'm going to put both up because, as you can well imagine, the Jeff Lutz show last night was fabulous. I mean, really over the top. So both of those, I'll put both cards up so you can take a look at those if you wish to, if you haven't already checked them out. Yeah, that's let's go back one last time. We'll just take a quick look at what Tesla's doing right now. So down 3.78 at 238.72. If you'd like that in dollars, just for fun, 937, about what we said just a minute ago. All right, there you go. I think that's all I have for you today, other than to encourage you, suggest to you, maybe you would like to support the channel by investing in Patreon. That would be a very, very nice thing to do. It's been great talking to you.